regarding that heat off vent switch, question that we get from time to time, you know, this is a little electrical switch that can fail at some point. Well, I push in my switch at the top to heat, well, I'm not getting any power coming out of here. And at least, well, no, it won't. When you push it into heat, it's this set of contacts that close down here and send power, you know, to the circuit board. Yeah. It sends the power to the circuit board, branches it off, goes to the transformer, and blah, blah, blah. All right. So, you know, when you look at this switch, you have to make sure that, okay, you're going to see 1, 2, 3, power connections and some neutral connections. Look for that switch to ensure that you've got the power to the board coming at the bottom set of contacts. The power to the switch comes in the middle set. And the power to just feed the fan motor on the vent side will be this set closing. Because we do get a lot of questions about that. We even get questions where guys that, you know, service the switch, they've taken the switch out and put it back together. Now I forget what wire goes where. All right, can you help me out with that? So just keep that in mind. Heat set, the heat mode, this is the power that goes there, and the neutrals, well, you get the idea.
And every heater will come with the wiring diagram and a troubleshooting. So I mean, if you happen to get there and it's all worn out, can't read it, call up. We'll more than happy to send you guys a new wiring diagram, troubleshooting, any safety instructions. We would really like to have those on the heater. So if you see something that's not there no more, none of these are on there, can't read this, let us know. We're glad to send you a free trial.
That goes with any of these heaters, not just the Premiers. If you want to have that safety information on, we'll just get it out to you right away.
So, yeah, like Jim was saying, the rocket switch is like this, you're saying like this. Rocket switch is just the opposite. When you hit up, it's actually the bottom contact closing. So just think of it as a rocket switch. You're actually titty-totting that contact closing. Any questions?
Let me ask you a question about serial numbers. Serial numbers I know are on the Premier panels, and I think they're on the tradesman panels.
Yep.
And then on the kerosene, they're just a sticker.
Yeah, there is. The serial numbers that are on the kerosene. Oh, wake up,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been burned off. We're trying to get that changed. Okay, because that's nothing but a paper sticker on this thing.
Right.
And with the mercy of the manufacturer, right? And the serial number is not our serial number format. It's like 12, 13 characters long and blah, blah, blah. But we do log it into our system here so we can still keep track of it, right? The serial numbers that we have, okay, like on the Premier 350, I mean, they use thermal transfer, and it's on the data plane. It's the same one that Dane's pointing to. It's the same one that we use on all of our trade. Basically, every other heater, okay, gets this type of thermal transfer type of data plate. So it's actually heated into this thing through the printing ribbon that we have. And it'll begin, the new serial number format begins with L, and then I think it's like 7, 8 digits or something like that. I forget what it is. It used to have like AA, AB, AC, or K, or M or something to identify a year.
So on something like this, though, as soon as that label comes off, they're not going to have access to the serial number. I did have one service center that was just engraving them right onto the heaters.
Yeah, and it's something that we have to get changed because they used to have, they being the manufacturer, used to have a small label located down at this end of the heater.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the problem with that is, where's the oil fill? Okay, right here. You slop the oil on there, what's up? So then they put it up here, but it was still, well, you can see what happens. It's paper. That has to be changed because once that's gone, you have no record. Unless you bought multiple heaters and somebody comes back and say, this heater was bought on this sales order or this serial number, you know what I mean, so we can track it that way. So, No, I admit that's something that.
It's just great, Michelle.
But your serial numbers do indicate dates.
We
Yeah.
did, it did,
Yeah.
yep.
When we type it in and everything, you know, it goes on the invoice and then it gets typed in and we show the date that we shipped it out.
God, Mr.
The old system does have that tracking capability, if you have like an A, B, A, C serial number or even older, we do have that, but these new serial numbers come to letter L, there's no way of tracking that. We can't enter that into the system, but without knowing what that is, we can't tell you. We can tell you right now, AC is 2015, 2016,
Right.
and AB is 14, 15, but if it's L, it could be, this year, it could be next year.
Yeah. And that's just the new serial number tracking system because we're going to a different system, period, you know, for manufacturing.
Radiant and flat panels and, is there a serial number on that?
Yeah, there's a
Oh,
serial number
there's a plate.
on the,
Right on the side here.
should be up in there, right in that area right there. In fact, they put a little white sticker on there. This was a used heater that we had, but there's normally a white sticker that goes on that, and then the round radians, which, wherever, it's over here.
Right on the front, Jim, on the front and the bottom. One more.
There it is. All right. There'll be either a sticker right up here, or what they'll do is they will put a sticker along one of these up here, somewhere where it doesn't really get the heat. It could be down here. There's a little white sticker, all right? And I think, Dane, flip that flat panel around. I want to see something here. You see a white sticker on any of the... Okay, right where the piezo push button igniter is. That's the thing I'm talking about. All right. And the reason that they did that is because that one panel gets very hot.
Right. I mean, you can see the coloration already. I mean, that's almost like what, aluminum paper?
And it's aluminum foil. Yeah. It's basically an aluminum foil type of data plate, higher temperature. You can see it get hot. Right. All right. So, does that answer your questions? Anybody?
Did you have any questions, Peter?
No, I'm just wondering how we would know the date. But on the L series, forget
Yeah,
all
L
that.
series.
You're not going to know. L just means LB white now. That's all it means. You could have, I mean, like Dane was talking about before, A, B could be 2015, 2016. AC is 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
Yes.
A little bit of
If you
that.
had a letter M, that could be,
Just backtrack to be
you know,
11 every year.
backtrack could be 1998 or something like that. All right? But now you're just getting that letter L, just means LB white. So you'd have to find almost another heater that you bought at the same time, give us that, and we could research by invoice. So,
I was about to ask, how the order acknowledgements would list the serial numbers, is
Yeah.
that on the invoice also?
yeah,
Okay. That's a possible way to track
yeah,
it.
that's a possibility.
We can track it if you don't know where, just as long as you have supply the serial number, we can track it when we ship it to you.
Or should it be whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, start with a time when we get heaters that joint purchase.
Somebody had a question?
Yeah, regarding actual hookup, like whether it's, if you're either fuel, your gas valve, you have a maximum inlet pressure of half a PSI. So for propane, you're theoretically gonna use two regulators, one to for the tank, and then that one there gives you your half a PSI.
No, the one at the
What if
tank,
you
I mean,
want,
if
what if you
you're,
wanna run 50 foot of hose, will that supply, are you gonna have to stretch out a 2-inch hose? for
you
50
might, I
foot?
mean, you know, for this, these heaters ship with a 15-foot hose to stand. Okay, and for a 15-foot, that regulator's gonna do the job, all right?
Right, 'cause you said that breaks it down to 11 inches of water.
Right. That'll take tank pressure and everything else. So what you might have to do, if you're running 100 feet of hose or something like that, you might have to have a regulator at the tank to take it from tank pressure down to
10 or
5,
20 or
10,
whatever.
15, whatever it
That's
is.
what fire code dictates that.
Yeah, exactly right. And then you're gonna have to have that regulator, you know, you've got the hose, you got the heater, now you got the hose, and then you put that regulator at that point, and then you got
Okay.
the hose going away from that to your first stage regulator up at the tank.
So regardless of fuel though, whether, because I've got one customer who has 30 PSI natural gas.
Okay,
You know, so if we got the 350s and take them up there, we gotta put the gray regulator on your breakdown, and then
Yeah.
he can hook up.
then he can go from there to wherever he's,
Manifold,
yeah, to the
wherever
man,
your
to
supply.
meter, or
Okay.
wherever it's coming from. That's right, yeah.
Anything else? Any questions? Any other questions? Concerns? Comments?
Yeah.
Is Gary around? Yeah, yeah.
Yes, air exchange.
Huh?
Air exchange.
Air exchange.
You have direct-fired units, and what's a general rule about air exchange?
I think it's, don't quote me on this. I mean, I read it, and I'm trying to go back to what OSHA says. It's either a square inch for every 1,000 BTUs, or 3 square inches for every 1,000 BTUs. I forget what it is, frankly. I don't remember all of that.
So if I go with 3 square inches, I'm safe.
Well, you should.
For
yeah.
BTU, for 1,000 BTU.
For 1,000 BTUs. Right. And there's some guys that won't do that. I mean, what they'll do, I was at a job site one time where the guy from Ferrogas said, that what we do is, hey, I got this heater right here, and I've got my window open, and I'm shooting my ductwork down and all that kind of stuff. All I have, he figured out, he just put a little box fan in there, so that he had that right by the window, and he was blowing that right at the heater. So when the heater started, the box fan started, and it was shooting air right at the inlet of the heater. And I said, okay, now how do you have your other air exchange going on down there? He had it coupled down at the other end. He had like a pedestal fan, nice big pedestal fan. And we're talking about like a big long hallway that they were painting. And all he did was just have everything interconnected with that. So when the heater came on, the fans came on, and just getting a nice air circulation. You know, and he just looked at it and said, yeah, we don't have any problems doing it this way. So, I mean, he wasn't following that rule of thumb that I was just giving you. He was looking and saying, hey, this I know works. We're providing the air exchange. I'm not allowing the heater through its air inlet doors and so forth to really do its own support system on airflow. I'm providing everything that this heater will need to accomplish what these guys need. Yeah, you're going to lose some heat. That's a given because you have to have air exchange, all right? But he knew what worked on past job sites. So, I mean, that's just an example too.
And his paint dry test. And his paint dry
And his
test.
paint dried pretty good. We had some good workers and everything else. Now, I've been at another job site, and this was down in Des Moines. They were making a big senior citizen living complex. And they had Premier 350s down there. And he had maybe, not the guy from Ferrogas, but the contractor. His air inlet was only like this by this for an entire floor. And this was a huge complex. He had multiple 350s and 170s on his floor heating up. And he was getting soot built up all over the walls. Well, your problem, your heater, this is what it's doing. So you look around, the whole installation was a mess. He had pour gas supply, 1,000 gallon tank for like 3 or 4 350s. And when I was down there, it was like -5. All right, so you know where that's going. He had guys, the construction guys were laying heavy scaffold right on the hoses, so it was pinching them off. And he had, between the tanks up to the heaters, he had 300 feet of hose. No regulator, no other regulators. He was just trying to bleed low pressure all the way up through these heaters. So now the heaters are all getting low pressure. They're all getting restricted on the air inlet. So we had to photograph it and do this type of thing. And then we sat down and said, no, it's not the heaters. Here's the reason why, blah, blah, blah. You're talking air exchange. I had workers who were doing sheetrocking and painting come up to me. Hey, you from LB White Company? Yeah. Man, are you telling them about getting some air up here? Yeah. Boy, my crew is getting headaches, and their throats hurt. Yeah, because of poor air exchange. You know, you can use that rule of thumb that we talked about. I can check that rule of thumb for you, Mike, back in the office. All right. Or you can couple up something like this guy from Ferrogas did to help inject air and exhaust the air out to the heater from the heaters. So I mean, it doesn't have to be anything real scientific, all right? You get rid of the moisture in there, and you're getting rid of the byproducts of combustion. So I mean, those are just two examples, and I always relate to them, because I was down there with this guy with the sodium buildup. Yeah, so, anywho.
Well, on that note, Jim, on the soot, this is your air inlet. This is where it's going to suck in the air for the combustion and for air movement. Any of these get start locking up, it's going to start getting some soot, it's going to start getting some CO high level, even high limits start tripping, because this is your air inlet. So make sure they have this not totally up against the wall, have this opening. If any of these are damaged or bent, make sure they're made at an angle for a specific reason. So
You can't put a filter in there.
That's
You get
it.
people in dusty environments that think, well, put a filter in it, it'll keep the stuff out of the combustion process. All you do is block your air input.
Restricting your air filter.
Makes it worse. Is
Makes
what
it very worse.
Yes, sir?
Are these weatherproof?
Yeah.
I mean,
They're rain tested.
They're not waterproof.
They're
but-
outdoor, they can be installed outdoors.
Okay, but would you recommend, obviously on your intake side, sheltering it to some degree?
You
from
could.
like,
I mean, you can do
snow
that,
and
George.
stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I've had, Dang and I have had people that say, is it okay if I've got these heaters on the construction site, can I build something around this a little bit? So I've got my back into my heater, where all the control boxes are and everything else. I want to get access to that, but can I build kind of a doghouse type of effect over this? Sure you can. Just make sure you got clearances to combustibles okay. If you do that, you're going to be fine. All right?
Well, we've got an indirect fired heater that they claim is, you can put outside, duct your heat in. And, I always tell guys, you've got to shelter to some degree, because like, in this one instant, I had to go an hour north,
Yeah.
find out the heater shut down because it was buried in a 2-foot snow drift.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
All the
And
snow.
that can happen on any of these heaters too.
I told the guy, you've got to shelter to some degree to prevent
Sure.
that from happening.
Yeah. I mean, you want to do that, that's fine. Just keep in mind, a foot.
Yep.
Yeah, sheltering isn't throwing a tarp over it.
No.
But to that point in the snow too, it's very common. If you guys think about that, if you're out assisting or people are questioning installs, yeah, it's perfectly fine to sit it outside, but what's sitting on the ground today may not be ground after your first couple of snowfalls. So
Yeah, right.
think, get it up on a platform, get it up off the ground, what's your average snowfall in your area? Think of that, because if it comes down quick and fast and builds a wall around it,
You bring up a very good point. Gary says also it's true because out in Colorado, we had problems with the Premier 170. Part of the problem was that they were getting like 2 or 3 feet, and this was up in the mountains. In fact, it was during the Olympics when they had it out in, I forget where it was.
Salt Lake City.
Yeah, Salt Lake City. That wasn't in Colorado. Yeah, it was in Salt Lake City. They were getting a lot of snow up there, and it was just blocking the air inlets. It didn't block it completely. It blocked like 2/3 of it. You walk out there and you say, that's your problem. You got to keep that clear. Do you have any maintenance guys that are walking around during the night keeping an eye on things that know that we're going to have from here on out? So, yeah, that was at Salt Lake. I remember that. So, yeah, you can put a structure around it, no sweat. Just make sure clearance is combustible. I just want to show everybody the control box on the 350. That's why I lift this thing around. So if you guys want to see the control box, please stand up, everybody, if you want to see it. Here's the control box. Dave was mentioning on the 80, it's at that burner end. Well, this is kind of nice. I like everything in this nice little type control box like this. You got the ignition control, the transformer, you got wire connections. And then that motor relay, that just acts as, like Dave said, it acts as a buffer between here and the motor. Because the control board is only rated for so many horsepower. That motor exceeds the capability of that controller, so we just have this in here to act as a buffer between the motors. So this feeds power to the relay, which in turn sends it over to the fan motor. That's all it does.
It just goes in the relay coil.
Yeah, that's all it does. So just something else you got to check if you're troubleshooting. Fan motor doesn't start. Go to the circuit board, sending out voltage, IND, talked about that. Get it on the wiring diagram. That sends it to here. If that gets energized and you've got 115 volt coming in, that better be sending it out to start the fan motor. If it's not, if you get voltage into it, but nothing out, it's the relay. So, just something else.
Little push button right here. You can push that one, that just kind of closes the contact. So if you push that and the motor starts, your coil will bend.
Yeah, that's one little tidbit of information here that Dan has just shared with you. So, yeah, if you gotta keep pushing that in to start your fan motor, something's wrong with the coil inside that relay. Let's see, what else? Dang, I can't think of it. Gary, what's anything for you guys?
The only thing I was thinking, I don't think we don't really cover this class, but it came to mind, I had a situation a few weeks ago, is just to talk about deviation and what we do for elevation units. And the reason I'm mentioning this, guys, we have to make adjustments for elevation.
Yes.
You may all say, well, we don't have elevation issues, but the reason I bring it up is now there's more and more fleet that's transitioning across the country.
Yes.
Because of the market conditions and stuff. So you talk about, it reminded me when you talk about Colorado, you may not buy units that have been deviated, but your customers may bring units in from Colorado that have been deviated, you may have an issue with the
Right,
heaters.
and that's a good
You
point
wanna talk about that?
that Gary brings up, because you know, I always go back, Dan and I always go back to our experience in talking to people on the phone. And a prime example is one that we had with United Rentals. United Rentals, you know, we got stores all over the place. Maybe to some of you, United Rentals is a...
Yeah, we'll just call them Company B.
Anyway.
But it's a good example.
Yeah, as an example. But anyway, yeah, you know, they were exchanging heaters, hither and yon, and the whole 9 yards. Well, what was going on here is that the Company B locations from 0 to 2,000 feet were sending heaters up to Company B locations up in Colorado and whatnot. Now you look at like Utah, Colorado, Idaho maybe in Montana or something like that. You've got higher elevations.
We have international companies now that are bringing product down from Western Canada, so
Yeah.
the product
So
you start to
what
see-
happens is that a product that is rated for sea level has a certain size orifice in it to maintain the heat output of that appliance. Now you take that same heater rated for 0 to 2,000 feet. Now you put it at 5 or 6 or even 10,000 feet, which we've gotten heater orders for. Well, there's less oxygen up there, less air. So what happens? That standard heater with a bigger orifice is starting to burn hotter. It's pumping more fuel in. So what happens is that the heater's running, the fan motor's running, but things are starting to build up. He starts to get premature high limit tripping problems. Then the guy says, hey, your heater's doing nothing, so okay, let's look at the data plate on the heater. Can you tell me, does it say anything like 0 to 6,000 feet, as an example, 0.22 orifice diameter? No, I don't see anything that talks about elevation. Okay, you got a standard heater then, that's the problem. Well, how do I fix it? Well, we'll have to get you a data plate, and we'll have to get you the right size orifice. Well, we're going to be ordering some more heaters later on down the road. What do I need to do? I don't want to run into this again. Tell the people to order the heater specifically for the elevation. And they'll create a shop order that says, take this orifice out, put in this one. They might contact engineering to create what they call a deviation to do that with. So if we put the right data plate on there to identify the elevation that that product is designed to operate at, along with the right orifice. So, I mean, we do run into that, like Gary said.
Just be trained to think about that. If you're running out of a heater that's running by the pool, one thing to check is the spec plate to see what the elevation.
I mean, like, you know,
setting is.
if you bring that high elevation heater down to sea level now, oh God, you know, that heater just doesn't feel hot enough now.
Yeah.
You know, why? Well, you might have a high elevation heater.
Yeah.
Now, it's not going to hurt anything, it's just that you're running at a lower heat output. So,
Isn't there also a difference with the size of the air proving switch? The paddle on the air proving switch?
on the Tradesman 400 there is, but not on the Premiers. But on the 400, yeah, they have to change that. Good point. Good point.